We live in an RV that's under 200 square feet full-time, and our fridge and freezer are tiny. We also like to boondock in remote areas, so we cannot go shopping every other day because that's just too far. So today, I will show you how I meal plan and create a grocery shopping list in an app called Plan to Eat so that we can go up to 4 weeks between grocery shopping trips. Hello and welcome to Adventurous Way. I'm Diana and behind the camera is Matt.
Hello!
First, I'll give you a quick rundown of our situation to give you context of how and why we meal plan the way we do. It's just two of us and we have lived in our RV for 2.5 years. And this is the size of our kitchen. This is our fridge and freezer, and the total size of it is just 6 cubic feet. And as you can see, it's pretty empty. So that means today is a grocery shopping day. This is our pantry and we have a little bit more food in the cupboard next to it and in storage totes under the desk. Our kitchen is small, but it is functional. We can cook pretty much everything that we used to cook in the house. We also rarely eat out or do takeout, even before the pandemic. This wasn't always the case though. When we lived in the house, we ate out a lot and we barely cooked at home. We would go grocery shop that evening when we wanted to make a meal. So meal planning and cooking more, this is something we learned while living in RV. I don't like to waste time, so I wanted to come up with the most efficient system for meal planning and managing my grocery shopping list. Let's talk about some of the challenges of living in a small space. For one, I cannot have 5 different kinds of olive oils and 10 different kinds of vinegars. I can have pretty much anything I want, just not all at the same time. We also can't have a huge selection of different kinds of things in the freezer because our freezer is just so much smaller than in the house. Also, we can't have it filled with kind of the things that you forget that they are there 6 months later. So we try to eat through the stuff that we have in the freezer. One is for the space constraints, but the second is also that the fridge temperature and freezer temperature in the RV can change more than in the house, so the things in the freezer might not last as long as in the house. So it is no coincidence that our fridge right now looks pretty empty. This is because we deliberately try to eat stuff up before we go grocery shopping so that we can get as much fresh produce in the fridge as we can. So why do we meal plan? The last thing we want to happen is to run out of food before the next shopping trip, or worse yet, run out of a single ingredient for a recipe that I want to make and then have to make an hour trip to go to the nearest grocery store. In 2020, we did a lot of stints where we grocery shopped every 2 weeks. And actually in beginning of the pandemic, we only shopped once a month. So meal planning for that was crucial. We have found that meal planning has pretty much eliminated all our food waste. And it also can save you money, as long as you stick to the shopping list. What is also appealing to me is that I only have to think about food once when I do the meal planning, and then when we are making dinner and we are tired at the end of the day, we just do what the meal plan says. When we moved into the RV, one of the first things we did was swapping out the fridge door for this dry erase whiteboard. If you want to see how we did that, check out our blog post on it, and I will leave the link in the description. So this is how I started meal planning. I would write down the meal plan on the fridge door and I would write out the shopping list on paper. But I thought there has to be a better way. So I went out and tried many different recipe apps, shopping list apps, meal planning apps, but none of them really worked for me. My main criteria was to go from the meal plan to generate the shopping list automatically. I wasn't really happy with any of them until Stacy from You, Me, and the RV introduced me to an app called Plan to Eat. We've been using the app now for more than a year and we love it. So now let me sit down at the computer and I will show you how I do my meal plan and shopping list in it. So this is the Plan to Eat app. Here I can have recipes, and this is the recipe view here under the cook panel. And I can import recipes from the web, or I can create my own recipes. And actually, even for simple things like scrambled eggs with some veggies, I still will make a recipe for it, even if it just lists the ingredient list, so that I know exactly how much I will need of each ingredient. Here on the Plan tab is where I actually do the meal planning. I look for recipes here on the left-hand side, and then I will drag them over onto the meal plan. And then the shopping tab is what actually generates the shopping list. So first step is to look in the fridge and see what I can make from the stuff that I already have in the fridge. So right now our fridge is extra empty. This is because for the last couple days I've been making meals from the leftovers in the fridge and taking some stuff out from the freezer and the pantry as well. So for example, last couple mornings we had egg scrambles with the leftover veggies, and for lunch we had kale salad with some salmon fillets from the freezer. Right now we have leftover a little bit of almond milk and some blueberries, so I can make a chia pudding as a snack. So I will add that to my meal plan. And here there are two things that you can add. You can add either an ingredient or add a note. So for things when I'm trying to use things up and I don't actually require to buy a new ingredient, I will add that to the notes section. So do chia pudding with almond milk and blueberries. Now that we have made sure that there won't be any food wasted, step 2 is to actually do the meal plan for the upcoming week. I usually plan 5 to 6 days out of every 7 days. This is because sometimes plans change, or sometimes we're out and about, or sometimes we don't feel like cooking and just end up snacking for dinner. So I use that wiggle room also to eat up some of the fresh food that is going to start to go bad otherwise, because when you buy stuff at the grocery store, the packaging size is not always the exact amount that you need. So we usually end up with more ingredients anyways. So that's why I kind of leave a wiggle room there. At this point, I will also check the calendar to see what plans we have and whether any of the days will require, for example, preparing and taking a lunch to go. So then for those days, I will choose lunch options that are easy to make and that are easy to take with us to go. Right now, we are in Vermont and grocery stores are actually pretty close to us, so I will plan for a week. A great feature that I love in Plan to Eat is you can create menus. And once you create that menu once, you can use it and plan it multiple times. So here, for example, I have this menu here. I can look at it, what it has in there, and I can also plan it. So we'll exit from there and we'll plan it starting on Monday. And I'll just drag it over onto the meal plan. So now it is winter, so I'm obviously not going to do grill. And I think I will make a turkey chili for the end of the week. So I'm actually gonna shift these dinners one day back, because when we make turkey chili, we make quite a big batch, so the next day we can eat leftovers. Our turkey chili recipe is kind of made for that larger batch, so it has all those ingredients. So for the next day, I will just add turkey chili as a note. Also, cool feature that Plan to Eat has is that you can add portions to freezer. So how many you will prepare and then how many of those servings you will add to the freezer. And then after that, it will kind of show up here on the left-hand side, kind of inventory of your freezer. And then from there you can pull it and meal plan it. There have been times we've been using that, but for now we don't use it that often, but it's useful to have there. Okay, so I have planned 5 days, but it's probably gonna last us throughout the next weekend. As I said before, in the beginning of the pandemic, we shopped only once a month. So how did we do that? For week 1, we scheduled meals that require fresh produce. And then for week 2, we schedule meals that are either fridge stable or using vegetables that are just shelf stable. Like for example, potatoes, onions, sweet potatoes, those kind of vegetables don't need to be in the fridge. And then for week 3 and week 4, we use meals that are either use stuff from the freezer and from the pantry. I also don't want to do egg white omelet this week, so I'll do just scrambled eggs. And I had a recipe for that. Here, herb scrambled eggs with veggies. So now step 3 is to make a shopping list. And luckily, Plan to Eat has done most of the work for you. So it has automatically counted all of the ingredients and put them in categories and even in stores. It remembers most of the things that you change for the future uses, but I usually go through it and make sure I clean it up. Another cool feature that Plan to Eat has is that you can create different shopping lists for different stores. And it will remember which things typically you buy at certain stores. So because we'll be going to shop at Costco today, I will make sure that the right ingredients that we generally buy at Costco are under the Costco shopping list. So eggs this time, even though we actually need just 4, we'll just buy more and use them up. So we'll buy those at Costco today. Organic tomatoes, I will also buy at Costco. Cucumbers come in packs of 3 at Costco, so those we also usually buy there. Avocados we also buy at Costco. Another thing I try to do is to normalize the ingredients. So for example, here we have 2 green onions that look very similar, but the measurement units are different. So I'll go and edit the recipe to say the same thing so that they can count together. So for example, here in the miso soup, I will just add, normally we add about 3 green onions. So now green onions are collapsed and the amounts are counted together into one. As part of that ingredient normalization, over time, I will also add for which ingredients I want the organic versus non-organic versions. We use the Dirty Dozen guide and we try to buy organic for the 12 top vegetables that have the most pesticides, but for other stuff, we use the non-organic stuff. So for example, kale, we try to buy organic when possible, and organic tomatoes and organic spinach. But avocados and bananas, they do not need to be organic. As we cook and as we notice that we are close to running out of certain things, we will write them down on the fridge. So now I will look on the fridge and see what else I need to add to the shopping list. And here it actually remembered that toilet paper we usually buy at Walmart. Because I know that today is going to be a Costco list, I also look at the staples list, which is a saved list of items that I generally buy at Costco, and see whether we need to top up on anything. We definitely need some more almond crackers because we just finished them. Here's another feature of Plan to Eat. You can plan for, let's say, a whole month, but then you can also make a shopping list only for a certain period of time. So for example, next 7 days. You can select custom range for certain dates. So yeah, that's very useful. Now that I have the shopping list, I will load it on my phone, and the final step is to check our cupboards, our freezer, our fridge, and check off things that we already have. I'm using an Android app, but there's also an iPhone app. Okay, we have a shopping list here. I remember in the fridge we are getting low on the lemon juice, so I will leave one of the lemon juices there. We actually make a lot of things from scratch. Almond butter is one of those things, so I will check off almond butter. Don't need to buy almond butter, and I will just make sure we have almonds so that we can make the almond butter. Definitely need chickpeas, pinto beans, we have enough. We have enough of that. Vegetable broth is also that we recently started making on our own, so I don't need to buy that. We have plenty of vinegar. Water is not needed. So most of the spices we already have and don't need topping up. So I'll check how much quinoa we have left. This is a Costco bag, and I'm not sure when we're gonna go to Costco next, but we eat a lot of quinoa, so I think we'll buy another bag. We are low on raw cashews, so we'll buy that at Costco. We have enough pistachios. We are going low on our cacao. We add that to our chocolate smoothies, so I will buy that. And usually Costco carries some, so I will here switch it to Costco. Almond milk is also one of the things that we make from scratch. So just make sure we have enough almonds and don't need to buy almond milk. Okay, that's it. So now we have our shopping list for Costco and other grocery stores. So finally, the shopping list is ready to go. Matt and I use the same Plan to Eat account on both of our phones, so when we go shopping, we use it at the same time. And we can divide and conquer. When one person marks off a thing off the list, it appears marked off on the other's phone. So we can make the shopping trip go faster. If you'd like to try out Plan to Eat, then I will have the link in the description. It is a paid subscription, but I have been using it for a year now and it's totally worth it. You can try it out for free for a 30-day trial. Now it's time to go shopping. Subscribe to catch the next video where we will show how we fit a full Costco shop into our RV fridge. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. One thing is that you cannot have 5 different kinds of olive oils and 10 different kinds of rice vinegars. You can have... What?
Vinegars, not rice vinegars.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true that you can also cannot have rice vinegars.
It's also true, but I don't think that's the point you were trying to make. I can have 20 different sherry vinegars, but I can't have those 10 rice wine vinegars. Nailed it.
Okay.
She's got it. Oh baby, she's got it.